Okay, I took some time out to design a new tail antenna mount. This one's for the one of the smaller Matek M8 GPS units without a magnetometer, because I don't really want one of those. The same one that I have in my Drift. It has a SMA connector and it has a standard antenna tube to feed a 868 mag antenna through. The benefit of this is that I can feed the Whisker 868 antenna through the antenna tube whilst having the receiver itself attached to the base plate, and then I can just remove the whole top plate and the antenna will just slide out of the tube. So the receiver won't be permanently attached to the top plate, which is nice. Basic wiring, I've got camera to do, found a long cable for that with the right connector on the end, VTX, video and UART control, we have buzzer to do, and we have a receiver which needs flashing and also its antenna gluing in place. Actually, we'll do that first. Yay! Done. Okay, that's better. Oh, I need to glue this in place, don't I? Right, we're going to paint Plasti Dip onto the connector, around the sides, but not on the bind button. Not that I should ever need the bind button again, now that it's registered to the module. Okay, it's not clean, but it should do the job, and it should hold it in place without getting in the way of the bind button. What else have we got? We have camera, which we can do quite easily. The buzzer we can actually do next. So I think, as I've said before, buzz negative is actually a switched negative. Buzz positive is just a regular 5 volts. Put it through the bottom like that, and then it can stick onto an arm like that with a piece of VHP. Because we need to have the video output to the VTX coming all the way across the board to here and across, we're going to use the TX5 pad for the UART control and tram telemetry. Now, as I said, it would look a lot neater to have this video output going underneath the flight controller, but that means it'll be running right on top of the PDB and the switch mode regulators. So these boards actually have both TX and RX, so you can not only control them from a VTX, you can actually flash the firmware via a FTDI adapter, but the pads are mislabeled. So normally for tram telemetry control you would connect a TX pin or pad on the flight controller to an RX pin on here, but they're actually mislabeled on the silk screen on here, or at least on all 3 that I have. So I actually have to use a TX pad, which is the top one to one in. Okay. Receiver might be doable by now. It's not dry, but it's gone tacky enough. I might risk heat shrinking it. Okay, one receiver mounted, and then this antenna, this whisker, will slide up the antenna tube. What we're going to do is move the 5 volt and ground pads that the buzzer are on, so that we have enough 5 volt and ground pads at the back for the GPS. So we've now got receiver with smart port and S-bus. We have VTX with video and telemetry control. There will then also be the GPS, and for that I have RX4, TX4, 5V and ground ready and waiting. But until the GPS arrives, I think that is actually all that we can do on this build for now. This is one of the tiny Matek SAM M8Q U-Blox units. It doesn't have a magnetometer, but I don't really care about that. It's a Betaflight quad, don't need a magnetometer, and it's very small. Yeah, if I've used this entire length of wire that it came with, yeah, that should work. We'll do that. Because it's the weekend, I made the same mistake of starting the day with a jug of coffee. Let's put some fresh solder on these pads so they've got some flux. So TX should go to RX, which it does. 5V. Ground. Okay. If I feed this through the hole, this might be more awkward than I expected. Okay, that's actually okay. Yeah, it's got a fair bit of slack on it, so I should in theory be able to plug it in and then feed the cable back through, and then I will secure it in place with a zip tie. Of course, I should probably check that all of this stuff works before I neaten up the wiring, but right, so I think that is actually finished as far as this build goes. Next stage is just to do all of the Betaflight config. I will dump the CLI diff from the member stack for most of the stuff. Change the ports obviously because those will be different. Yeah, but otherwise it's gone quite nicely. Next update will hopefully be an actual flight video again. I'm not sure when that will be because I actually start a new job tomorrow, which is exciting. So my free time is going to be cut down by about half, but hopefully by the time I have a weekend free it will be some decent weather again.